coaches. We have Brad Thurber in the house from Utah to talk all about his 10U team going into this season. They've been building over the last 3 years together. He has some great highlights. It's just more proof these kids can throw if you give them the opportunity. He's going to go more air raid this year, and he's a big part of our middle school air raid group. He's part of the roundtable that we're doing right now on building a 10U program. The more we show these type of clips, the more other coaches will let them throw. Great. Thanks for joining us today, fellas. Appreciate it. We have Brad Thurber in for another episode. Here we go with Let Them Throw. How's it going, Brad?
Doing good. How about you?
Hey, can't complain. It's Friday. I'm having a nice long weekend. What do you guys got going on this weekend?
Not much. Father's Day on Sunday.
That's right. Yes, awesome. Hopefully you can get outside a little bit instead of being cooped up, huh?
Yeah, we do have, we've got a practice tomorrow. We're doing a 7-on-7 tournament next weekend, so we've got to practice for that tomorrow.
Beautiful. All right, great. Well, I wanted to just welcome you into the show. I'm excited to talk a little bit about this. We've been discussing kind of on social media, your group and what you've been doing for the past few years, kind of building up to where you are now, and I wanted to kind of introduce you to the family here. Why don't you give yourself a quick introduction, just so everyone can kind of understand where you are and,
Sure.
and what you're up to.
Yeah, glad to. So my name's Brad Thurber. I coach a youth football team here in Farmington, Utah. We are going into our third season. So started with basically 8-year-olds, coached. They're actually half and half, and we can talk a little bit about that. It's one of the reasons we throw the ball so much. But about half of my team was 7 going on 8, the rest were 8 going on 9. So going into this season, they will be mostly 9-year-olds with some 10-year-olds.
Oh, cool. Awesome. And so you said you were in Farmington, Utah. Is that what you said?
Yeah, just north of Salt Lake City, 30 minutes north of Salt Lake.
Yeah. Awesome. And so you're the organization you guys play for. Is it like how is it set up? Is it like a youth rec league?
Yep.
What is it?
Yep, exactly. Youth rec league. The boundaries go by high school boundaries. And cool. Yeah, we have all the kids that are within our high school boundaries that play on our team.
So you feed one into one specific high school then?
Yep.
And how's that affiliation, by the way, with the high school? Are you guys hand in hand, or is it just like, hit and miss, or how's that?
It's a little hit and miss, but it's not bad. We're getting there. Yeah, they're the high school is only 3 years old. So
wow.
The third year of the high school, so everybody's still kind of new. So our first year playing was the first year of the new high school where we live. So it's really cool because we're kind of on the ground floor, and we've got a new coach, and he's supportive. He's got a lot on his plate, so it's rare that he gets down. We're not a high priority for him, which I totally get as 9-year-olds, but they do good at supporting us and vice versa.
Yeah, no, that's great. And that's, if you have no baggage from over the years of, sometimes it just happens, you're sharing facilities, you're sharing a lot of things, and sometimes there's X baggage. So you guys can start fresh from the beginning. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool, man. And so your organization, I'm assuming it goes throughout the whole youth span. You guys are the youngest group, I'm assuming. Can you talk me through like the levels and just generally how that works?
Absolutely. So we just finished our second year. The way it works here is 7 and 8-year-olds play together. So if your kid starts at 7, he'll actually play that first group. We call it Scout, 2 years in a row. Then you move up and basically 1 year in each division from there. So what's unique about our team is we have a bunch of younger kids, including my son, that all moved up with the older half instead of staying down a second year. So the second year, last year we played was our second year. This will be our third year. We had 8 of our 18 were technically playing up a year. So nice. A lot of those were our skill guys. Our quarterback, my son's a quarterback. He's a year younger, and then 3 of our 4 wide receivers were all younger, so they're a little bit smaller. And so we felt like we kind of had to pass the ball to compete with those older kids, which is how we arrived here.
And so it's pretty common for you guys to coach your own kids and be able to kind of follow them through.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it's almost all coached by dads or, somebody.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but most of them are.
Yeah, that's what I found in my in talking to people. I mean, there's always a couple just coaches that are just like, where did you come from? That's great. We love that you're in this and you have no ties. You just love the game.
Right.
But yeah, for the most part, youth sports does tend to be dads that are just trying to do their best. So that's great, man.
Exactly.
Curious what you do for a living, since obviously we're not teaching at a high school or anything. What do you do for a living?
Yeah. I'm a financial advisor. That's my day job, as I call it. So, which is awesome because it does give me a fair amount of flexibility during the football season to watch film and practice. I can be out of the office fairly early. I control my own schedule to some degree. So, yeah,
Awesome.
it's a good gig.
Yeah, that's great. And it's, it's such a blessing when you have a job that gives you that freedom to spend times that you need them. What putting it toward a passion like this obviously must be for you and or for like most of us coaches doing this. So
Yep.
very cool, man. Now, curious, did you play youth football growing up?
I did. So I grew up in Montana. My
Nice.
wife is from Utah, which is how we ended up here. But yeah, so I grew up playing in Montana, but up there we couldn't play tackle football till 7th grade. So
No.
it was just flag, and then we started tackle in junior high.
Very
So
cool.
yeah, I didn't get nearly the experience that my son's getting, but that seems par for the course with youth sports these days. It's a whole new world than when I was growing up.
Oh, it's a factory. Every sport is like is year round if you want it. It's
Yeah.
pretty nuts nowadays versus back then. Very cool. Well, awesome. Well, let's kind of get into your offense. So, just to kind of set the table for everyone, it sounds like you started coaching this team when they were 7, 3 years ago. Is that correct?
We've played 2 seasons. This will be our
Okay.
3rd season coming up.
You're coming into your 3rd season. You've
Exactly.
had, for the most part, the same batch of kids.
Yep.
Okay. And
Yep.
then talk to us about kind of your progression through it. I mean, obviously your first year, you're getting your feet under you, that your kids are kind of introduced to it. What's your mentality kind of going into the process of that first year, and maybe just talk about the progression to this year.
Yeah, for sure. So it's funny when we had our very first coaches meeting, which is really odd because you sign up through the program. I didn't know any of them. I knew one of the other guys who's now my defensive coordinator a little bit, but we really didn't know each other at all. And so literally the first thing I say when we sit down is, all right, we got to find a good center, because I knew we wanted to go gun. In youth football, to me, that's really important. If you can go gun and buy yourself an extra second and not make your quarterback drop back. So I told him, I said, more important than quarterback, running back, anything on offense, we got to find a good center. And fortunately, my O-line coach, he played center in high school. His son is the biggest kid on our team. And so he kind of timidly raised his hand. I was like, my son can do that. So we were off to a good start. And, our group, and I think probably most youth coaches are like this, we thought if we can complete one pass in the first year, that'd be a success. And so we didn't even try a pass until probably the 3rd or 4th game in. And we did run gun. We ran tight wing. We had tight ends with wing backs, and we ran a ton of jet sweep and a little bit of counter and things like that. But we had one pass play where we faked the jet sweep, sneak the tight end out to the left side, and my son's a lefty, and dump it off to him. And the first 3 or 4 times we ran it, we were able to complete it. And
Nice.
so, yeah, we were excited. We added a second pass play, but we only had one kid that could really catch. And so it was pretty easy to diagnose, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so with that, we were pretty excited after year 1. And like I said, we've got a lot of young kids. So when we decided to move up last year, I knew that we would be somewhat undersized. And so we started a year ago. I took all of my younger skill kids, including my son, and we signed up as a flag football team. And so we played all spring, and we tried to just pass the ball. We'd run some sweeps and reverses, but we tried really hard to just pass the ball. So last year, going into the season, we took our tight ends, and we only have 2 formations. The first year we had one in gun and one under center, and that was it. Everybody else stayed the same. This year, we bumped our tight ends out to wideouts, and we stayed in the gun. We have 2 formations. We're either gun with slots, 2x2, Or if we want to go tight and kind of run up the middle, we'll bring our wing backs in. We keep our wideouts out, and the quarterback goes under center. So we'll run, dives and some leads out of that. But so we kept that pretty simple as far as formations go. And so then this past year, we threw the ball a lot, at least compared to most teams our age. We ended up throwing anywhere from 12 to 14 times a game.
Nice.
And
that was when they were 8 years old.
8 and 9. So 8 and 9. Yeah, the younger kids were 8, and then we had some 9-year-olds on the team. But
heading into that season, you're like, okay, it's year 2. They can do it. We've had some spring. We can see that they, that these core kids can, in fact, pass and catch.
Right.
Without pads, we're still wait to be seen. Things do change after the first day of hitting, blah, blah, blah. But you're pretty confident that they can go out and execute some passing.
Yeah.
So where did you start, like, the passing plays at that point? This was pre-air raid for you. Where were you getting those? Were you online, like just like video, looking at YouTube, or what?
Yeah.
Where were you getting the offense at that point?
Yeah, I've got a lot of friends. So I played, everybody has a different word for it. We called it semi-pro, but I call it adult rec league football for a long time. So I've got a bunch of friends that coach high school that I played football with. And one of my good friends, he's in our group, Chris Hooper, and they run the air raid. He coaches he's the OC for one of the high schools down here. And so they run air raid. So he was going through the certification process, and I got some tips from him. But yeah, I didn't really know about the air raid going into last year. And so I got some ideas from different friends of mine that were coaches. And yeah, we kept it really simple. I mean, the quick screen was basically the one pass play. We knew we were going to run a lot, and we just motion the slot guy over, throw it to the wide out, let him block you. You've seen the clips, and we'll show it later. But we basically took our best kid. Every youth team, that's the thing. Every youth team has one guy, and he's the beast. And so we took our beast and let him run and just block the corner. And then our best receiver, our best little guy, catch the ball and try and get upfield. And so as far as plays go, that was the only one that we knew we wanted to put in right away, just to spread them out, get it to our best guy out in the open field with a really good blocker in front of him.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so you were already, even before you found air raid, you've already kind of, in your mind, already know I need just a few formations, and you already know quick screens and just getting the ball out in space. I mean, just naturally. And I think that's how a lot of us found the air raid. When you finally do find it, you're like, oh, this is already what I was thinking. But there's like there's a system around it.
Right.
So you're already going, okay, so year 2, how's that go? When we're starting to introduce passing plays, not really an air raid system, but you're spreading the ball. You've got more of a spread formation, more than most 9 and 10-year-olds that are doing it. You're trying to get the ball on the edges. How'd that second year go?
So it was really interesting because at first we could just run our quick screens, and we ran our first 2 or 3 games. We probably ran that 10 times a game. Nice. And our very first game, we scored 2 touchdowns, and they were both on quick screens. We didn't score any running. But after 2 or 3 games, and I think most youth leagues are like this, people start seeing film on you and start keying on those things. And so we realized pretty quickly, okay, we can't just run quick screens. We got to add in a couple more plays. And again, everyone says it, but the beauty of passing at the youth level, everybody plays single high safety. And so our answer after week 1, and we had this play in, but we really didn't develop it till week 2 or 3, was a post wheel with our slots. And because everybody plays single high, and so we told our wide receiver, you run a post right at the safety and let the inside guy wheel out. And so those became kind of our bread and butter. And those 2 plays, honestly, for the season, 80% of our pass plays were one of those 2 things.
Yeah, and they play off each other. I mean, you can't be right. I mean, especially out there, it's really hard for kids to play defense out on the edge at 9 years old and have the discipline not to chase that guy going in when you just told them in practice. Literally, man, this wheel's coming behind you. Your job is to stay outside. I mean, I had that discussion 12 times last year at the varsity level.
Right.
You can't tell me a 9-year-old's going to beat this.
9-year-old, exactly.
They're chasing the slant or the post all day.
Right. They can't resist it. And we would throw the slant or a post just enough to keep them honest, but we probably threw that once for every 10 times we threw the wheel. You know,
oh, your son throws a beautiful ball out there for that wheel. And something about being lefty, man. I don't know. I'm not lefty. It just looks cooler coming out.
Yeah.
Even a bit.
It was a lot of fun. I did not know we would be as successful going into it as we were. I was very pleasantly surprised. And the best part about it for me was throughout the year to watch not only him, but our whole offense kind of develop. And I used to call it this, we run a lot of smoke and mirrors, because we got to the point where we could run so many things off of those two plays. We got to where we would run the motion, fake the screen, have the running back go do a bubble screen the other way, so that we could, once they start keying off that, we could run a quick screen. It's the same throws, but we could run, 3 or 4 or 5 kind of variations from the exact same motion. The other thing we tried really hard to do was on that same motion, we would fake the quick screen and run trap the other way off it. We didn't get as good at that as I wanted to, but we tried to make everything look very much the same. But yeah, it's just beautiful, because in a 9-year-old setting, everything is so simplified. And so they can learn so fast because every little thing helps. Like, one of the things that was huge for us after about week 5, and again, there's a couple of clips of this, we were playing a really good team in our 5th game, I think it was. Their safety was probably the best kid we played all year. And that's the other thing about youth football. On defense, you put your best, fastest kid at safety and let him run everything down, right? Because hardly anybody, I shouldn't say that, but hardly anyone's going to be able to consistently just get 3 or 4 yards up the middle at this age. It's always the outside that kills you. So most teams put their fastest, best kid at safety. Anyway, this kid was really good. And so I'd worked with my son and saying, okay, this week, we hadn't really done it before, let's work on looking off. And so on those post wheels, like you were talking about, we'd have him look off, and you'll see on the clips that safety takes 2 steps that way, and then he's coming back to the wheel on the backside. Really little thing, but awesome for quarterback experience. And it was just really cool to see the whole offense kind of progress. Every single week they'd get better at something.
Well, listen to what you're teaching a 9-year-old, man, to look off a defender. I mean, guys, if you're not sold on this yet, that you're preparing these kids for the next level, you're crazy. Okay. This 9-year-old is learning how to effectively stop a defense from stopping what he's trying to do. And it's next level stuff. And what I just love about what you're talking about, and this is year 2 pre-air raid, is that you are simplifying it so much, and you are not getting way out ahead of yourself. You're not thinking, I need 30 plays to be an offensive play caller. You got one play that you learned to death. You got quick screen. And now we're going to put in the answer to what their answer is to quick screen. And now once they know those 2, like the back of their hand, now you're putting in other stuff, but it's all the same. We're just adding one little thing because, right. And not to mention, they're understanding why you're putting this little wrinkle in, because they've seen the defense, what they're doing to take away. So guys, it's next level on so many different things. You can't learn this from just running wedge with 3 fullbacks and diving your quarterback behind them and waiting for that to pop once a quarter. Okay. This is next level stuff for 9-year-olds. Okay. So, I don't know. Sorry. Got to get off my soapbox.
And I know that's why we're here, but it's absolutely the way the game is going. There's no doubt. If you look at, I told you, we just did a 7-on-7 tournament for 9-year-olds. I mean, 5-10 years ago, you'd have never even thought of that. But there's kids out there like my son that at 9 years old, they're chucking the ball really well. And that's the way the game is going. I think if you're not doing it, you're not wrong, but your eyes are a little bit closed.
Exactly. I mean, it's not for lack of trying. Like, people just don't know yet. They truly think that these kids can't do it at 9. Why waste our time with it? But the truth is, guys, go to any field in the spring or winter, whenever flag season is, where you live, you're going to find kids chucking the ball around. And the longer you hold them back from learning and trying that, you're damaging your organization.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to get
No,
too off on it.
I'm with you. It's coming. It's the way
Yeah.
the game's going.
Exactly. All right, cool. So year 2 is successful. You have some great footage of that. We're going to show everyone out there, even though it's not air raid specific in your mind. We're still going to show everyone great clips of that coming up here in a second, just to prove again, let them throw. They can do it. All right, cool. Well, I'm excited to watch the film again. You've sent it to me. I've watched it, and it's one of the things that got me so excited about talking to you. But yeah, so let's go ahead and play the clips. Anything you want to talk about or want to mention about the clips before they get into them?
No, you'll just see kind of what we talked about on that quick screen. You'll see there's 2 different clips where our beast dude, I mean, there literally is 2 different plays where he knocks 2 defensive kids over and our wide receiver runs in for the touchdown. It's fun to watch. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I do.
Yeah, no, for sure. And, just because we're passing the ball and we're talking about a new brand of football does not mean we do not get pumped up when kids make pancake blocks or bricks or make a good tackle like this. That hasn't changed. And we all grew up kind of playing that same era of football. So I love that. It's just going to happen on the outside and where it's a little bit more obvious for everyone, maybe. Awesome. Cool. Well, coaches, check out these clips and we'll be right back. now that's in the books. We hit the off season this year, and talk about what you've kind of found and where your mind is at heading into year 3. Now that you've got kind of your bearings, that your kids kind of understand what you're trying to accomplish in general. Where's your mind right now as we're heading into year 3?
Yeah, perfect. So the eye opener for me was I went to a Glazier clinic in Vegas, which mostly it's high school, but a good friend of mine who also coaches youth football and I went down, and then my friend Hoop that loves air raid, he was there, and Graham Harrell, the OC for USC, was there.
Nice.
So I went the very first meeting. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go listen to this guy. You know, he's talking about quarterback, blah blah blah, and I didn't ever leave his class the rest of the time. Like, he was awesome.
That's
awesome. Yeah, I'm a USC fan now, which I wasn't then. I'm a huge Graham Harrell fan, and that was enough. Where I was like, okay, this is what I need. And I had heard about it, but listening to him, I was like, okay, this is what I need to kind of polish up what I'm trying to do on my own. And so, yeah, we put in mesh right away. We run a lot of smash, but mesh, in our 7-on-7 this last week, we ran mesh probably either a quarter or a third of the time. And we ran, we ran 105 plays, and yeah, I think we ran mesh 25 of those 105. So my kids know anytime it's 3rd and short or 4th and short, they just know we're running mesh, and it's awesome. They're getting better at it. So
that's fun, man. That's obviously such a staple of the air raid, but it's just a great play in general.
Yeah,
it's fun. The kids love doing it too. It's just fun to practice that play, to be quite honest. Very cool. So you're gonna run this year. You're adding in, you said smash. You're adding in
smash and mesh are the big ones. And again, where we see almost all single high safeties, those corner routes. We didn't run a ton of corner routes last year, but my guess is just from our 7-on-7s that will be probably our most productive route. And with the smash concept, I'm guessing that and mesh will be, we'll still run our quick screens and that stuff, but we're adding this year. I think the 2 big ones will be mesh and the smash concept.
Yeah, for sure. Good. That's awesome, man. That's really great. And anything you're going to do differently with practicing this year, since you're kind of adding these in, or what's your thoughts around practice?
That's a good question. So one thing that we really learned again in year 2, we didn't really practice passing. And this is, again, you hear this from every coach, right? We didn't really practice passing until about week 3 or 4. We'd put in our quick screens, and we were pretty good at those. And then all of a sudden you get, 18, 9-year-olds, and you're trying to do blocking. And so the first 3 weeks we were just working on our run game and trying to get better at that. And then we started practicing the passing game in practice. And I know that sounds stupid for the older coaches, but when you're coaching 9-year-olds, that the idea of taking 20 or 30 minutes to practice passing when you only have 2 pass plays, we didn't even start that till about week 3. And we really quickly saw how important that was, and how quickly we progressed from practicing passing. And so, so one of the things we will do, settle and noose and pass and go. We didn't do that last year. And I'm just going to tell my parents, anybody that's a receiver or running back, you can't force them to, but hey, my son's going to be there 20 minutes early, warming up his arm, getting ready for practice. If your son, and they're all great, so they'll show up.
Yeah.
We'll probably do 10 minutes of each of those before we even get going every single practice. And then as far as that goes, we'll just keep, we only get to practice 4 days a week, an hour and a half each time. That's our practice limit. And so we'll do, of those 4, we'll do two days where we practice passing, and it'll probably be 20 to 30 minutes at that hour and a half.
Nice. That's actually a lot. 4 days is good, man. Well, we have 3 days.
Oh, really?
Once the season starts, but it's 2 hours. So
okay. So I guess it has to be the same time.
Yeah. By the way, Brad is going to be part of our roundtable that we couldn't do last week, but we're going to get a roundtable of like 10-year-old U10 coaches and below, kind of talking about their experiences, and we're going to try to together, for fun, put together a kind of an air raid youth program, if you will. So I think that'll be a lot of fun, and Brad's going to be a part of that because he's obviously just proof that these kids at this age can do it. I didn't even try to throw that much when I had my first year. It was the same as you, scouts. It was 8-year-olds, and we ran it. We won a championship running split back veer. It didn't even dawn on me that I should be throwing. We did, looking back at the film, we did have a trips formation, and we threw it out, and it was basically a quick screen, and it scored big every single time. And even still, I was like, oh well, what do I know? I remember I ran wing T and veer when I was a kid, so I'm going to continue to do that, right? But yeah, so you guys look out for that. I mean, you guys are already playing 7-on-7, so that's pretty sweet. What's the schedule like this summer? Do you guys just kind of find games as you can, or are there actually tournaments set up now still, or what's going on?
We got one more tournament. We did the one. There was only one that actually had a 9U division. This next one we're going to be playing up a year.
Nice.
So we'll see how that goes. And then we're taking July off on purpose. I don't want to burn the kids out. Our season goes till the first week of November, and we start July 27th. So it gets a little long for 9-year-olds. So yeah, we're going to give them July off and then come back July 27th, be ready to roll.
And right now, July 27th is still happening for you guys?
Yeah, we're good to go. They told us everything is green right now. So if we don't take any steps backwards, we're ready to roll.
Man, I know everyone out there is jealous, man. We started practicing, obviously. We didn't officially start practicing for our Thunderbirds. We're just, trying to get back out there with 12 or less. But yeah, every time I release any practice film, people are like, why do you get out there? I'm like, 12 kids or less. That's basically my rule right now.
Well, yeah, I think we're at either 20 or 50. So
nice.
We're okay for now.
Cool, man. Well, awesome. Well, I really appreciate you coming on here and sharing about your journey. I think a lot of people are on the same journey where, we get back into coaching football. We've missed it for so long, and now it's back in our lap, and we try to find our way through. And it sounds like going into year 3, you've kind of stumbled down the same rabbit hole as a lot of us, and we're excited to watch your journey, man.
Yeah, we're excited to see how it goes.
Good. Well, let's make sure we stay in contact through the season. I want to, if all these coaches are open to it, I want people to show their film. Hopefully this will spur people on a little bit more about being more conscious about making sure they get film. I'm blessed. I work for an organization that has been around 60 years, that there's never been a question. We pay the money for the film. People coming in, recording it, uploading it to Huddle. All I have to do is go in and put in the little stats. Yeah. So I know I'm blessed in that way, but I do want to, put this out to all of you coaches out there. We all want to see it. All these coaches want to see. So, if you need to make it apparently it used to be a volunteer position in our league, in our organization, before we had the funds to do stuff like that. So I would implore all of you to get the film out there, have somebody recording this, and then share it with me. You come on the show, we'll show kids throwing the ball. We want to just prove, and without a shadow of a doubt, that the experiment's over.
Right.
It's done. These kids, 9 years old, 8-year-olds can do this. Now, maybe they're not throwing 40-yard bombs, but they don't need to in this offense. Okay.
Exactly. It can be done. Absolutely.
For sure. All right, man. Well, anything you want to say on the way out the door, Brad?
No, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to being on again. And if anybody has questions, I'm in the Facebook group. Just hit me up.
Yes, sir. Jump on that Facebook group. And then, Brad, we'll see you. So it's planned for this coming Monday. We're going to try to do it live. Okay. So more of these coaches can ask questions as we're kind of building this thing out, because, as we've already talked about on this show, you and I are trying to figure out what works, pulling the shotgun. A lot of coaches out there don't think that you can go in shotgun until you're in 6th grade. And that's clearly not true either. So it's going to be a fun conversation. I'm excited you're a part of it. And yeah, man, thanks for spending a few minutes today with me. And hopefully people will get as excited about your film as I am.
Sounds good.
All right, Brad. Thanks a lot, man.
See ya.